Amazing! got to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Let me see here. Is that what we need to do? Is have Sean come back and remove those things back over here, since they've switched screen on me like that. We're trying to make sure I'm sitting right. And can you come and remove the other things back over here since they switched screens on me? Because we can't tell. Okay, we had to readjust something here in the studio. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE, Jesse, Jesse. My biblical question for this week, the biblical question, do you see what you do to yourself? Or do you only see what others do to you? Do you see what you do to yourself? Or do you only see what others do to you? An amazing question. And I'll deal with it on Sunday at the fellowship, if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show, jesseleepeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about anywhere in the world, we're heard around the world by everybody and their mama. So if you're out and about and working out, whatever you're doing, and you want to listen to the show while you're busy doing what you're doing, you can call the listen line at TalkStream Live on your iPhone or iPad at 641-793-1500. That's 641-793-1500. Don't forget to follow us, JLP Talk on Twitter, and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Like, ring the bell, subscribe, and all those good things. Y'all know exactly what to do. Thank you. It is Friday. It is Get It Off Your Chest Day. It is whatever is on your mind. Express yourself Friday.
You, Tom, like a mug. You need to go and get yourself bleached, because everything you say about black people, and you're sitting up there looking like a tar baby.
It might sound like a semantics argument, but he's a gray alien.
I wonder if he's been smoking pot.
So I want you to talk a little bit about Tanya Chutkin, the judge here in this case.
To kill. Come on,
I'm thinking about two kinds of justice, poetic and legal.
The poor, the farmer.
She has handed down some heavier sentences for January 6th defendants. She's also ruled against Trump previously. What more do we know about her?
The poor, the farmer.
The poetic justice is that presiding over Trump's trial will be a black woman immigrant.
Culturally, we are now one step away from South Africa.
Absolutely. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that the blacks, not all, but most, not all, but most are celebrating hating someone. Over in Mummy, Africa, they're all those blacks who was shouting, "Kill the white farmers, kill the bull," meaning the white farmers. And they're dancing and celebrating killing white people. And over in this country, you have this stupid foreign so-called judge who hate God, hate good, and they put him in all the right places to hurt white people in white people country. And they are celebrating getting revenge for nothing, really. Because there is no reason at all to be angry at the white man. Zero reason. But because they're of their father, the devil, they're doing it. And it's no wonder that not all, but most blacks would never get better in life. They will always be, until they leave this earth, the children of evil. Their generation and generation and generation to come will always be on the totem pole and used to promote evil. And woe unto the human being that try to get revenge on another human being or others. Hell is your damnation. There's no peace but any time for you, because what you're doing to others, you're really doing it to yourself. And the blacks have no one to blame but themselves for their suffering. Even though they're being encouraged by their parents, their black politicians, liberal white politicians, rhino Republicans, they're being encouraged to do it. They still can't blame anyone but themselves. They have decided that Satan is their God, and they take pleasure in it. And each generation, you think this young generation of blacks are bad now, and they are totally out of control. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. I was checking out the noise. I heard a clicking or something. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. And there's nothing that anyone can do for the blacks to make their life better. It's on them. Each individual, not the group. The group thinking, the group joining is destruction. Individualism is freedom. And over in South Africa, as the whites are doing here now, they have just given up everything to the blacks. They have given up everything to the blacks. And they gone over to the farmland. Okay, black folk, y'all can have the city. Y'all can have everything that come with the city. We're gone. Bye. We're going to go and live on the farmland. And what do the blacks do? They destroy the cities, and now they're going out to the farmlands, following the white man, trying to kill them. They have no peace, no matter what. And that's the same thing that's happening here in America. And white folks, I would encourage you to wake up and get involved, vote these people out, get involved with government so that you can stop this South African thing from happening because you don't know and understand. Well, you do know because you're afraid. But it's not gonna get better. Why do you think they're going after them for the Messiah? Why do you think they're going after the not Messiah, but Great White Hope? The fallen Messiah is Barack Obama. But the Great White Hope, why do you think they're going after him? They're like, not one white person gonna get away. You take a stand, I dare you, they say. We're gonna hunt you down and destroy you by any means necessary in your own country. It's not even their country. It's the white man's country. They found it, and they're desperate to destroy the white man. And except for Donald Trump, the white man is on the run. Do what you want, but I recommend you speak up, stay away from anger, because when you become angry, you take the wrong action and dig a hole for yourself. You stay sober-minded, you take the right action, and the victory shall be yours. But it's up to you. You know, over the past, we've talked about worshiping false idols, and most people do. And the reason that they worship false idols is because they worship false thoughts, false imagination. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. And anyone that believes the imagination, believes thoughts, is a false idol worshiper. And then you go from worshiping the thoughts to worshiping outside people, places, and things. And then when it doesn't work out, you blame the people, places, and things for your worshiping them instead of understanding, why am I worshiping things, people, places, and things? We see it all the time. All the time. I want to show you an example of worshiping false idols. It's crazy, but I understand it. I totally understand it because the people are blind and they just can't see. Forgive them. They know not what they do. They know not what they do. One thing I wanted to mention is that those people that are, those blacks in South Africa, look like a couple thousand of them shouting, "Kill the white man." That is a part of Nelson Mandela's organization that he ran while he lived. The young man that is, according to the report that's heading up that, he was a young guy in Nelson Mandela's organization. And now he's doing this thing too, teaching hatred to the young. And so I want to give you an example of worshiping false idols. It happens all the time. I used to not, at one point, I didn't understand how worshiping false idols come about, but now I do. And it's nobody's fault but yours. It's not even the person or the people or place or thing that you worship. It's your fault because you live in your imagination. You live in thoughts, and you don't know the depths of the deception of thoughts. And all angry people always blame somebody else for their action. And the fact that they blame someone else is a sign that they're lost and cannot see. Really. This, what I'm about to show you, is so crazy that it's hard to believe that human beings can be this way, but I understand it. When you're blind and can't see, I understand it. This is from Reddit. There are traditions in Spain where the more fanatical worshippers send babies and children over crowds so that they would touch the Virgin. They all gather around a statue or whatever, and they call it the Virgin. A statue now, a piece of clay. And in their mind, all thoughts are all lies all the time. But in their mind, they call it a virgin. And they all gather around a piece of clay, and they send their children across the crowd to touch the clay that they call virgin. The idea being that physical proximity will make the virgin protect them in the future. Can you get any blinder than that? Watch this from X and Cornell Sir. Isn't that amazing? That's mind-blowing. Who told them that if they sat on a piece of clay and called it virgin, that somehow or another it's going to protect them in the future? You know something wrong with your thought, with your mind, with you, when you act that way. It's not real. It's just a piece of clay. And then nothing changes. And they have to wait until next year to touch a piece of clay that somebody told them it's a virgin. And if you touch it, it will protect them in the future. Every year they wait. And every year they wait. And every year they wait. This crazy man running up on the stage there, sitting the child up on the thing. The child like, what the? Somebody come and get me down from here. I would suggest do what you want, of course. I would suggest you work on you by not working on you, but working on you by just being aware of the not you. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not the thoughts. You're not the emotions. You're not your body. You need to let that collapse. You need to let that go so you can be free. God said, and I repeat, my children shall know me by my voice. My voice is a voiceless voice. Not the crazy voices in your head and not the craziest voices in other people's head that they are passing on to you. Why is it so difficult? Because you're so identified with it. How can someone tell you a piece of clay is a virgin? I wonder how much money they're making off that. We're going to carry this piece of clay that's sitting inside of another piece of clay and make it look important. And we're going to call it, I guess, Mother Mary. Mama Mary!
What the?
And you touch this, and your life's going to be better in the future. Not now. It's going to be better in the future. And thousands of people gathered together carry on believing in a lie. That's what happens when you believe the thoughts. No, oh, as my shirt say, thanks to the anchor baby, all thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. And you can test it if you like. Stop listening to them. Stop obeying them. And see what happens. Just give up. Let them collapse and see what happens. It's not doing you any good to hold on to them. You still have fear. You still have envy. You still have jealousy. You still have strife. You still get lonely. You still stressed. But you touch the virgin. It's like the Allahu Abba people who think that if they sacrifice their lives with a bomb on, they're going to go to heaven and they're going to get, I think, 70 virgins. Who wants 70? One is enough, more than enough. But they want to go to heaven and get 70. Somebody told them that, and they believe it. Another example of worshiping false idols. I would encourage you, do what you want, of course, but you need to pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to you and see what's going on. Because God is not going to force you to stop it. He and his son will just sit there and have a little cafe mocha and once in a while throw in a donut or something with it. Because they don't like to eat too much sweet. And just watch you make a fool of yourself or the devil making a fool of you. And they're like, what the? Another example, false idol worshiping. Some people worship so-called celebrities. They worship celebrities. And I have to tell you, the celebrities are lonely. They're in fear. They're depressed. They're afraid. They have anger. They're judgmental. They're revengeful. They're on drugs, all kind of, and you worship them because they can dance and sing, and they're in the spotlight. And by worshiping them, it makes you feel important. It makes you feel alive. Worshiping the devil inside of you and outside of you, inside of others. What a sad way to live. When I look at the world, it fills me with sorrow. Children today gonna suffer tomorrow. Can you imagine? I understand. I totally understand. I would not understand if I was not working on myself to overcome the illusion of the false self. It runs deep. You gotta let it go. The old nature must die. It's just gotta die. It's not you. You're not your thoughts. You're not your feelings. You're not your body. I counsel with a lot of these people in private, so I would never tell you their names or what their issues are, but I do counsel with them. They have the same problems that you do. There's no difference. It's the same spirit. All who were born through the woman of the flesh, meaning through the woman, must be born of the spirit of the Father. And if you don't hell and damnation is yours right here on earth. And no one can save you, and you can't save anyone. And you're a fool if you think you can. Touching a statue of a so-called virgin, first of all, the statue is not a virgin. It's just a piece of clay. And it's going to fade away because it's going to get old and it's going to turn back to dust. And they're going to build a new one. And they're going to march it in the streets and tell you it's a virgin. How much money does that bring in with that crowd, right? It's like, it reminds me of the people who believe Jesus is God. Somebody told them that, and they're stuck on it. And they quote it, and they repeat it, and it ain't nothing changing in their lives. Oh, but they believe Jesus is God. The Trinity. And ain't nothing changing. But they repeat it, and they quote it, and they get together, lift up, hold their hands, and say it. And they never question, well, if that's true, why am I still in fear? Why do I still get lonely? Why do I still have anger? Why am I jealous and strifeful and revengeful? I'm looking at these people that hate the great white hope, Donald Trump, and when they report the news or however they talk about it, they have a glee in their eyes that they are getting revenge in their minds on another human being. Woe unto them. But anyway, you're worshiping celebrities. Can you get any dumber than that? This is from W Magazine. It was a girls' night out for two of the biggest names in music on Sunday. Madonna attended Beyonce's Renaissance tour. Beyonce is married to Leon Z. What's her husband's name?
Jay-Z.
Oh, Jay-Z. Some people may know her as Beyonce, but it's Beyonce. I'm telling you that. Renaissance tour with her three young daughters. Madonna was there with her three young daughters, and Beyonce's daughter also joined the group. Halfway through her performance, Beyonce said, "Big shout out to the Queen. Madonna, we love you." This is a picture of them at from W Magazine. We're showing a photo of Madonna and Beyonce and their children. May God have mercy upon those girls, those children, being raised by those two females. What a mess! Back in a moment. 888-77-JESSE. Back in a moment. I have books that are amazing. I highly recommend you get them. 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. Even if you're not starting a business, but you have a job, or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right? From rage to responsibility. From rage. That's what I write about in the first chapter, especially how I overcame. Scam. How the black leadership exploits black Americans. They're using them, and blacks are too willing to be used. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They are all amazing books, and they are helpful. Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663. Hello, how is you? Welcome back. 888-775-3773. 888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Busy day today. At 9 a.m. this morning from 9 to 11, the Hake, Hake report.com. The guy with the good hair, he's on fire. From 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then at 12 noon p.m., right, Pacific time. Brand new episode of the Fallen State.tv. A very interesting conversation with Dan Felden. And Dan is better known as the truth conductor. I mean, Don, not Dan. Sorry about that. Don. I'm looking at Don. I'm saying Dan. I'm black. I'm slow. Don Felden, better known as the truth conductor. He is a black history historian who conduct black history tours around Washington, D.C. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
Black history is the last frontier of tourism.
What's good about you?
My looks.
We can't see your looks.
Huh?
Are you a Christian?
Do I sound like a Christian?
Not really.
I got my Bible right here, man. I can pull it out. You can open up a can of worms I don't think you're ready for.
Doesn't July feel white?
No, sir. Man, we still enslaved, brother. My dick is bigger than the average white man.
John, keep it clean. Kids watch this show.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I created my own dinnerware line, Jesse.
What a mess. That's today at 12 noon. You do not want to miss it. Telephone, telegraph, tell a woman. Get the word out. Tell your enemies about this one. What the? At 12 noon, thefallenstate.tv. And don't forget, you can support The Fallen State by becoming a member on the YouTube channel there. Thank you. And thank those who have already become members. And at 4 p.m., ooh, flying high. Ooh, high of life. The best pilot on this side of heaven. He only crashed maybe twice. The American Anchor Baby at 4 p.m. today. And I think when he crashed, I believe if I remember one of those crashes, over 600 people died. What the? But don't worry, it was just bad weather.
What the?
But you don't want to miss the American Anchor Baby today at 4 p.m. Pacific time. He is flying high on life, real energy. So come along for a fantastic ride on the voyage. You don't want to miss it. The Anchor Baby at 4 p.m., the American Anchor Baby. All right? Sunday morning fellowship for all. I'm back. And thanks again to Joel Friday. He black. And Duh for doing the last couple Sundays for me. I was away. Check out the fellowship at rebuildingtheman.com/church. rebuildingtheman.com/church. All right? So if you're in the area, come on down, or you can watch it live anywhere in the world. 11 a.m. Sunday morning Pacific time. Check it out. Let me go quickly to Tom, a first-time caller. Oh, last night was an amazing men's fellowship. Really, it was deep. It really, it was mind-blowing to me, to be honest. It was more than a notion. I'm typing a note here. Sorry about that. Let me go to Tom, a first-time caller out of Long Island, New York. Tom, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jesse.
Hey, Tom.
I wanted to say thank you. I started hearing some stuff like a week ago. The first time I started listening, I went out, I forgave my mother, and I've been doing the silent prayer every day. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I had a question about the free will thing.
Okay.
That like my whole everything in my brain has pretty much been going crazy ever since I heard the stuff that you were saying, and but the free will thing, I guess I got a little hung up on, and how do we not have it? I don't understand the concept that well.
Oh, okay. So your question is, how do we not have a free will? Do you believe we? Before I respond to that, do you believe we have a free will?
I do believe, or I did believe that we have a free will. Now I'm questioning that thought, and I'm wondering how we don't. I thought we make the choice to do the things that we do, and we're held accountable for the decisions we make with our free will.
And who hold you accountable for that?
Well, I believe that God did, and I guess I did. I held myself accountable for things I was doing or not doing.
And why do you believe God hold you accountable for the things you've done?
I guess I don't know. I guess I was taught that way, and I just ran with it.
And why do you believe you have a free will? Because that makes sense. That's just like those people touching a piece of wood, a statue, and somebody put the title virgin on it, and they believe it. And so I understand you heard somebody told you that God is holding you accountable for what you do, and you believed it, not because it's true. You believe it because somebody said it. I totally understand that. But why do you believe that? I forgot the second part of my question. Why do you believe you had a free will?
Well, I used to. I believe I have freedom.
Oh, right? I know what I asked. Why do you hold yourself accountable for the things you've done?
Why do I? I haven't been for the last week. So while I've been doing the really taking a look at the things you're saying, and I've been looking at everything in a completely new way, and so I haven't been.
But before that, why were you holding yourself accountable for the things you were doing before you heard the message, the truth?
I think because I was just unaware that I was even doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's been life. My whole brain is upside down, and
nice.
And I'm really seeing a lot of what you're saying, But yeah, I know. I guess I thought I believed I had freedom, and and my just a follow-up question on this is, where does the idea that we don't have free will come from?
Good question. Number one, all the bad things, so-called bad things you've done in your life that you did not want to do, but you did them anyway, and in some cases you repeated them. Did you make a decision to do those things?
I believed at the time that I was, yeah. I believed that. I'm not saying I did. I say I believed that.
And so you believed at one time that you will yourself to do bad things to yourself?
At the time, that's what I believed, yes. And that is under review.
Right. And what do you believe now that you've heard the truth?
Now, okay, so this is what you say, does anyone want to do something bad to themselves? My thoughts to that were, well, if I didn't didn't like myself very much. So maybe I did want to do something bad to myself because I wasn't okay with myself. So that was the thought that came up. Besides, I've been listening to like 100 videos ever since the last week, hearing a lot of what you say. And yeah,
so
your question basically, right, is do you want to do bad things to yourself?
Right.
And you know, the common sense answer is no, I don't. But I maybe sometimes I believed like I deserved bad things, or I didn't feel good about myself, so I wanted to hurt myself or something.
And if you have free will, why haven't you willed yourself to have perfect peace?
Yes, yeah, I'm. That's out of my control. I'm beginning to understand that, and I guess I just didn't realize how sneaky our brains can be in trying to convince us that we can will it.
Yeah. The one thing I want you to know, without a doubt, not zero doubt about it, God has never held you accountable for anything. Zero. In your whole entire life. He never has, and he never will.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And yeah, thank you.
And the reason for it, because he knows that it was not you that were doing the things that you did not want to do. He knows that it was not you that was not doing the things you were supposed to do, but it's the spirit of evil that made a home in your imagination, in your thoughts, and in your emotions that caused you to do the things you didn't want to do and prevented you from doing the things that you wanted to, the right things that you wanted to do. It was never you, but it was the spirit of evil that made a home in your flesh.
Mm-hmm.
It was never you, but no one told you that while growing up. They told you something differently, that it was you and you're responsible and God gonna get you and blah, blah, blah. And you believed a lie all in your life, and you think that you've been suffering, and even in the suffering, it's not you. It's a false identity that's feel the pain of what you call suffering, because it has to live in human bodies, and it's made a home in you, and you have identified with it.
Yeah, I'm the whole week I'm watching everything.
Yeah,
and I'm seeing how every single situation pops up where normally I would. It's crazy all these situations that would pop up in a day, and I would just run and suffer with them.
Yeah, I know.
It's just crazy, you know.
Because you thought it was you. You believed the imagination.
Yeah, I thought it was me.
You didn't know that all thoughts are all lies all the time. You thought you were creating the thoughts. You thought it was you, even though it would be horrible thoughts at times. And even though it would make you do and say things you didn't want to, you still thought it was you. And that somehow or another, God is going to punish you for it. When Christ came, the Son of the Father came, he paid for he wiped away all of those things. He defeated the devil so that we wouldn't have to go through this stuff. But because we believe the devil, we think it's us, and it's not. The devil is a liar. He is a deceiver. He can't make you do the things you don't want to do if you didn't believe it.
But okay, that's where I get hung up, I guess. But am I choosing to believe?
No, you're not. You have identified with it, thinking that is you, thinking that those thoughts are yours. So when you stop identifying with it, don't get any identity from anybody or anything, you will become a free man immediately.
Right. And so basically everybody has this, because now that I'm seeing what you're saying, it seems to me that everybody I know has this, has not forgiven their mother, or holds on to this anger, hatred.
Every human being on this side, every person that's born through the woman has the same identical problem that you're having. Situations might be a little different, but it's the same thing. everyone you ever know, ever will know, ever seen. And then there are a handful of people who are overcoming, just as you are. They're starting to wake up and overcoming that.
Is it all equal? And what I mean by that is because sometimes, like now, I see everybody has this spirit of anger and this hatred in their hearts. I mean, are they all equally bad, or are there some worse than others?
Evil is evil is evil. Don't put a better over it. Evil is just plain old evil.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't put a worse or a little better or nothing, because you're giving glory to evil. Evil is evil, and in evil there's no love.
Yeah. Wow.
What a mess!
Well, thank. I haven't. I mean, I've looked on. I follow a lot of people. Spreading positive messages. I have not heard anything like what you're saying, and it's just blowing my mind. So I want to say thank you.
You're welcome. Now that you can see, there's no going back. You wouldn't be able to go back to that at all. And so now all you have to do, and what I recommend, do it to one, of course, that you just watch. Stay with the silent prayer and watch what's happening inside of you. Watch those thoughts, and life will happen on its own. It is already laid out for you. It's already done. It's been completed. All you need to do is just live. Stay present and do what's in front of you to do, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Just watch those thoughts. There's nothing else you need to do or can do to make life work for you.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes.
So the ego death, which I believe or maybe experiencing as a result of watching and not reacting to these, normal narratives that would pop up in my mind. How long does that take? I mean, because there have been in the last week as I've been doing this, there have been nights where I'm like, I'm not getting to sleep. I'm not necessarily in fear or talking to these things, but I'm physically, I feel like a little uncomfortable, or I'm wondering how long that would last, or if you know what I'm saying.
I do know. I would encourage you.
Mm-hmm.
Never, ever, 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 but never, ever, ever again ask how long.
Okay.
You accept it, you see what's going on, and let it happen. Let it collapse. Let it collapse. It's like an old house that you try to fix up, but you should get rid of it, let it collapse, fall apart, and build a new one. Let it collapse. Don't ever ask how long. You just live with it, knowing that it's not you, and it'll take care of itself.
Excellent.
The devil wants you to ask how long, because he wants to stay inside of you. He wants to live in your body and mind. So he makes you ask how long. That's not even you asking how long. That's him, because he wants to dwell inside of you.
Well, okay. Wow. All right.
What a mess.
I love it.
So let me ask.
Yeah.
What did your mama say when you went and forgave her?
She was. I actually did it in front of, because she was sitting with my dad and my sister, and we had happened to be in a fight at that time. So we were already in the middle of a fight. They were being hateful, not talking to me, and I was being hateful, not talking back. And then I heard you tell somebody else, but it really spoke to me to forgive her. And I realized that, I'm sorry, I'm not answering the question.
No, you're answering. You're doing fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I realized that a lot of the resentment and anger I have in my heart, I know for a fact comes from her.
Yeah.
So once you said it, I'm like, okay. I hopped in the car. I didn't even know if I was going to go there yet. I told my wife, I said, I got to go. And I went, and and then I told her that it's she acted basically as if she's been waiting for me to apologize, and so it was received well. She was happy about it. My sister and my dad, they were happy about it. I had already forgiven my father, so I didn't feel necessary to say anything further to him. I told them I loved them, and I walked out. I was done. I was in and out in 2 minutes.
Nice. Well, here's what I want you to know. It's God who is allowing you to see what's going on. It's not me. It's the one that I'm pointing you toward, the kingdom of heaven within, right? So he's with you. Yeah. If he didn't allow you to see what was being said, you would still be in darkness. So he's with you. He's inside of you. He's above. But he's inside of you as well. So just stay with it no matter what situation comes. And unless your wife is working on herself, she's going to turn on you because she would no longer have control over you. And
that's okay.
And she will turn on you. But if she does, and when she does, if she doesn't work on herself, don't react to that. Let her act out. Don't argue with her. Don't try to prove anything. And
I'm with you.
And you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. If she turns, she turns. If not, great. That's great too.
Or if your mother build an army against you, wish them well. Wish them well and live your life.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I accept whatever the outcome may be. I
that's
believe
right.
I truly do.
Right on. Tom, amazing call. I got to take a break. Thank you. Call me again, all right?
Take care, Jesse.
All right, buddy. I got to take a break. Hake is coming in with the hate news. Not the fake news, but the hate news. The Hake news. I'll be back. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven.
President Trump says he's not guilty, or at least he pleaded not guilty. Give me a break. Liberal Parkland shooting. There's a reenactment for some odd reason over a civil lawsuit. And the invasion into America is ongoing. What a mess. This is the end of hour one of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It is Get It Off Your Chest Friday, August 4th, 2023 AD. Stay tuned for hour two. Jesse Lee will be right back to the Super Chats, your calls, and fun stories. But first, Hake news, not fake news. Based, Louisiana. All Louisiana public schools, according to Common Nonsense Network CNN, are now required to display the national motto of In God We Trust. Did you know that that's the national motto of America inside every classroom under a new law that went into effect this week? Some critics fear that the law will further blur the lines separating church and state, which follows a pattern seen in Southern legislatures in recent years. Maybe they should self-deport. Our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, pleaded not guilty yesterday, Thursday, to 4 criminal charges related to his alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election, which was totally on the up and up, most secure ever in history, according to the Common Nonsense Network. It was the 3rd occasion that Trump was arraigned this year. Endless persecution in which he was arrested and released pending trial. Federal prosecutors in the latest indictment allege that Trump was determined to remain in power after losing the election, that he and 6 unindicted co-conspirators orchestrated a plot to reverse the results leading up to the January 26, 2021 mostly peaceful protest, part of which turned into a minor little lightweight riot. on the U.S. Capitol, which they called an attack. After Trump left the courthouse on Thursday, he railed against the indictment to reporters, describing it as a persecution of a political opponent. Accurate. Trump's next hearing is set for August 28th, the end of this month, the end of Men's History Month, a few days before. Liberal Parkland shooting reenacted. The 2018 Parkland school shooting, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, will be reenacted with live gunfire today as part of a civil lawsuit against a former sheriff's deputy who remained outside during the massacre. At least 140 bullets will be fired inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where a gun male killed 17 people and injured 17 others in what remains the deadliest high school shooting in America. Families of the so-called victims, so-called families, want to reenact the shooting with live rounds instead of blanks in an effort to prove that Scott Peterson, the former deputy, heard upwards of 70 shots and knew where they were coming from, but chose not to confront the shooter. So said an attorney for the families. Scott Peterson was found not guilty in June of criminal charges after prosecutors accused him of ignoring his training and failing to make contact with the gun male. Instead, taking cover while the victims were gunned down. Invasion. An appeals court will allow the Biden administration to keep a controversial, which probably means moving in the right direction, asylum policy in place for now. The policy at the heart of the court battle largely restricts migrants, illegal invaders, who passed through another country from seeking asylum in the United States, marking a departure from decades-long protocol. That's what normal refugee status is supposed to be. The policy and a similar Trump-era policy have received criticism from Biden allies, meaning communists, globo homos, and Democrats and so-called immigration advocates. A judge had blocked the policy last week, sounds like a liberal judge, but put that ruling on hold for 14 days for a possible repeal. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals on Thursday extended the pause and said it would expedite its consideration for the case. By the way, Mexico's president has condemned Texas's floating barriers on the Rio Grande River, calling the state's border enforcement tactics inhumane. Fix your own country. By the way, Cardi B will not be charged related to her microphone throwing incident. Police say the rapper, I guess she's a rapper, will not face charges related to throwing into the crowd in Vegas last weekend. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 2.
To stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the second hour of the show today. You can get involved by calling 888-77-53773. 888-77-JESSE. JESSE. My biblical question for this week. Do you see what you do to yourself? Do you see what you do to yourself, or do you only see what others do to you? It starts and ends with you. Do you see what you do to yourself, or do you only see what others do to you? It's amazing. We have every way to watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. You can also podcast the show, but in the meantime, if you can't sit and watch it, you're busy, you're running, you're whatever, you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling 641-793-1500. That's 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us on JLP Talk on Twitter, JLP Talk on Twitter, and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Amazing. Hit the like button, ring the bell, and blah, blah, blah. It's Friday. It's Get It Off Your Chest Day. It is whatever is on your mind. Express yourself Friday.
You, Tom, like a mug. You need to go and get yourself bleached because everything you say about black people and you're sitting up there looking like a tar baby.
It might sound like a semantics argument, but he's a gray alien.
I wonder if he's been smoking pot.
So I want you to talk a little bit about Tanya Chutkin, the judge here in this case.
I'm thinking about two kinds of justice, poetic and legal.
The poor, the farmer.
She has handed down some heavier sentences for January 6th defendants. She's also ruled against Trump previously. What more do we know about her?
The poor, the farmer.
The poetic justice is that presiding over Trump's trial will be a black woman immigrant.
Culturally, we are now one step away from South Africa.
Amazing. That is, just think about that. Every time I see that, it's mind-blowing. You got a bunch of black people shouting and dancing, singing, kill the white people. And they're celebrating. What would happen if that was the same amount of white people saying that about the blacks? Kill the blacks! And dancing and carrying on. What would be going on right now? And think about this. You got a foreigner from Jamaica, black, in our court system as a so-called judge and a female in the United States of America, judging Americans. And nobody expects you're going to do the right thing, right? Foreigners should not be involved in your government. Look at that Ilhan Omar woman. I think that's her name. So-called refugee from Allahu Akbar country. Think about this. Smoke on it. A black female said that she was in trouble over there in Allahu Akbar country, a refugee. And the white man said, Lord, we are Christian. Let's go get her. They allowed her to come here to their country, the white country, and they allowed her to get into the white government, and she turned on them. Amazing. It's a spiritual battle. It is a warfare between good and evil. What a mess. What I got to do here, I got to do some super chats, and then I'm going to get back to your calls. Hake is here to help us with the super chat. Super chat.
Super chat.
Super chats.
Hake,
hey.
Before we get into, Hassan, before we get into that, did I hear you in the news saying that, so I think in Florida they're going to be enacting some act at a school? Tell me about it. I halfway heard it.
Okay. Yeah. They're going to reenact the school shooting with live gunfire today as part of a civil lawsuit. against former sheriff's deputy Scott Peterson, who stayed outside taking cover during the whole incident, most of the incident. 140 bullets will be fired inside this high school in Parkland, Florida, with live rounds, not just blanks. Because families of the victims want to reenact the shooting with live rounds to prove, instead of blanks, to prove that Scott Peterson, the former deputy, heard upwards of 70 shots and knew where they were coming from, but chose not to confront the shooter. So says a lawyer.
So they're going to shoot bullets inside of an empty building to prove that some man heard the shooting?
Yeah.
Who came up? Who's running the place?
That's the court system.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. That's worse than those blacks shouting, "Kill the white folks."
He was charged.
They're going to shoot bullets inside of an empty room, empty building.
Well, empty school, because I think it's more than just one building.
Who running the hen house? Are you serious? That sounds like a joke.
It's crazy. He was found not guilty back in June of criminal charges because prosecutors had accused him of ignoring his training and failing to make contact with the school shooter.
Did he shoot the building?
He did not.
And so leave the man alone. Why don't they go after the people who want to kill the white people?
Because they want to kill the white people. These are liberal. This is a liberal area, and I don't know what these families, what their mindset is.
Crazy.
But
and why this would is where the law enforcement listen to some crazy idea like that?
This is where those March for Our Lives so-called kids came out against the Second Amendment. Remember right after the school shooting,
and now they're going to turn around and use the Second Amendment?
The high schoolers said, oh, the adults won't take away the gun rights, so kids have to march to take away the gun rights. Kids have to do it.
What a mess.
Yep.
Who is running our country? I want my country back. Back! What a mess. I couldn't believe that story when I halfway heard it out there. And now it sounds even sillier.
Yeah. That's why you have everybody allowed to be armed, not just a guard.
That's what the Second Amendment is for.
Right.
Duh.
Terrible.
So let me ask. Did you hear Tom call in the first hour?
No, not all of it.
It was so interesting in that the devil caused human beings to do what they do, and then the devil condemns you, accuses you, and makes you think you're judging yourself. Oh, I feel bad about myself. I'm judging myself. I just robbed a bank. He made you think it's really you. He made you do wrong, and then he made you think it's you doing wrong, and it has nothing to do with you at all.
He keeps you on a roller coaster, huh?
What a mess.
Interesting.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, that's something.
Just think about that, though. He made you do wrong and made you think that it's you doing it. And then when you do it, he judged you, makes you judge yourself for doing wrong. And then you go back out and do wrong again.
No wonder people are so insane.
And then the devil tell you, God
Less than 30 seconds delay.
So all that talk we just had about the shooting in the stupid building and your shirt and all that, nobody heard it?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Nice.
They didn't hear the shirt stuff.
They didn't hear about the shirt stuff? Did they hear about the shooting at an empty building?
They heard about that.
Oh, but not
okay.
the shirt. Okay.
Hey, guys, we're back.
Who is that on your shirt?
That's Hake.
Of the Hake Report.
Yeah.
And let them see it.
Teespring.com/stores/the Hake Report. It says cool.
And why do you have black hair instead of brown on your shirt?
I don't. That's your imagination.
Oh, that hair is brown on your shirt?
No, it's neither. It's a black and white graphic. Why are you black and white there, but you're really
black.
Different color.
What
a
color?
different color black.
What color black am I?
You're you're black person black rather than black t-shirt black. Anyway. Why are you like that?
Be black. And the other thing that we mentioned in case they didn't hear is the first caller, Tom, and so many other people who are waking up talked about how Satan can convince you to do wrong and make you do wrong by convincing you. And then you do wrong, and then he'll judge you and say that, ooh, now you feel bad about yourself for doing wrong. And then he'll tell you God is going to get you. He's going to judge you. And you believe that, and then he'll call you to go do wrong again. And yet you think it's you. Isn't that a mess?
It is a mess.
And it's not even you at all, and God is not going to judge you. He does not judge.
And it's funny if it's somebody else going through something and doing stuff and suffering, and you don't happen to be like personally mad at them or liking them or either way.
Right.
You don't really care. You're not
right.
concerned about it.
Yeah.
But when it's somebody. Oh, who cares?
It's all ego.
But that's how we should be treating everybody, including ourselves.
Everybody, the same.
Interesting.
It crashed again?
We're still good, though. I'm hearing audio on the thing.
Okay, sweet.
If it crashed, how's it good, though?
Because it's crashed. Because we have safeguards in place to allow the crash to happen in a little bit. I'm on D Live saying about the relationship, working on a relationship experts segment yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Saying, Sean said it best. Working on it is the hell. Working on a relationship is the hell. He says, I have books that are amazing.
Amazing. Listen, do what you want, of course. I would highly advise you, but do what you want. I would highly. Is it working on it? My thing turned off here.
What thing?
My screen.
The stack thing.
And we got all those different blocks up there.
That's fine. It's supposed to be like that.
Oh, okay.
That's how I keep mine.
Well, that's you. You crazy.
No, Bill said to do it like that.
Millennials do crazy stuff.
We also do awesome stuff.
Yesterday, this thing popped up on my computer, and I hit it, and it was Nick Fuentes of Christ is King.
Nick Fuentes.
And Nick was talking about dogs. And I agree with him. Nick does not want no dog in his bed. I thought of Hassan. Have you seen that, Hassan?
I've heard him speak down upon dogs.
I was like, right on, Nick. Christ is king. He's like, no dog in my bed taking a dump. Even if the dog take the dump out on the ground or the floor, he ain't coming to get in my bed. I'm like, finally, somebody else speaking the truth about the dogs.
I mean, he's pretty based.
He is. He's right on about the dogs. Who let the dogs out? Nick, I agree with you about the dogs, man. I don't even understand any human being. Sorry, Hassan. I don't understand any human being that would let the dog get into bed with him.
It's just me and Tucker Carlson.
Tucker does that too?
Yeah, he claims he sleeps with 4 dogs.
Oh, what a mess. I agree with you, Nick, on that one, buddy. Okay.
More super chats. We mentioned the working on a relationship is Hal.
Oh, never, ever, 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 but never as long as you walk this earth, work on a relationship. If you got to work on it, get rid of it. If it's not happening naturally, it ain't meant to be. Because as the anchor baby said last night and before, working on it don't work. Not working on it works. And anyone that's working on a relationship, you're catching pure hell. Both of you, the man and the woman, the husband and the wife, catching pure hell. And normally men don't work on relationships anyway. Where did that idea even come from? But do what you want. Suffer and die, or don't work on it and live. Just FYI. Okay.
Over on Streamlabs, JesseLeePeterson.live, Mike Young says, "Hey, Jesse, speaking of women in government, don't get me wrong, but I really like both Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. However, do you think that they are just as bad as the black female whom you talked about earlier? ?
A woman should never be in a leadership role. Facts.
Are they just as bad?
What do you mean just as bad?
As the black female you talked about earlier.
I don't know what that means. Just as bad.
Marjorie Greene and Lauren Boebert as politicians.
No, they should not be in leadership role.
That's not the question. Are they just as bad as a black female in office, being in office? Or being a judge or whatever lady you were talking about? I forget.
But they should.
This was yesterday, actually. I forget who you were talking about yesterday.
A man should never follow a woman because a woman should never be a leader.
Oh, so it's like that caller you talked to maybe today about
evil.
It's not about, it's evil is evil. You don't have to compare them.
Right.
Yeah.
How you can't compare evil to one little evil is just better than the next. One evil is better than another evil. No, evil is evil. There's no nice evil and a bad evil, or not so bad evil and a worse evil. Evil is evil. Just like men were ordained by God to be leaders, not the woman. That's just the facts. And so I don't know which one is bad. It's not supposed to be.
How about female congressmen?
No.
I remember you used to interview Michelle Bachmann.
And where's Michelle now?
I don't know, out of office or something?
I was blind. I like Michelle Bachmann, though. I like her.
Yeah.
The one thing I like about Michelle, I don't know what she's like now, but she admit that her husband is the leader, is the head. And she loved it. And the liberal women got mad at her for saying that.
Of course.
But I like Michelle Bachmann. I respect her.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
On buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk.
Buy me a coffee.
Star Zion bought a coffee saying, "Jesse, Hank likes Ilhan, the homewrecker Omar. She stole a white woman's husband And she says she's scared of white men. LOL, lots of laughs. By the way, you are so dark than you already were. Amazing, dark as midnight. Love you, Jesse.
Thank you. I got black when I went down to Georgia. It was so hot down there. It was like killing hot. And I looked at him, I'm like, what the? I didn't even recognize me. But listen, what'd she say about you? Was she referring to you?
Yeah, she was. She says Hank likes Ilhan, the homewrecker Omar.
You like Ilhan Omar?
A little bit.
I don't dislike her.
Right.
I just know she should not be in government. She's a foreigner, and she hate white people.
Right.
But I don't dislike her.
Yeah. She's still mildly attractive. And she has a
How do you know
deep
she
voice.
always has her head rag on?
Well, the face, she shows too much face.
Does she have hair?
I assume so.
Why would you assume so?
I don't know. I can't picture her not having hair. That would be
Well, why does she have to wear a head rag if she has hair?
because she's Muslim.
What?
It's a fashion statement.
You
She's
can't be a
Muslim.
Muslim in America. You be an American.
Oh,
Americans don't wear head rags.
talk to her about it.
You don't want to like her. Is she married to a white man?
I guess so, according to Star Sion, and I vaguely remember this. Like maybe she divorced some guy that who was Arab with, like her, or black or whatever she is, and then got with this guy who divorced his white wife, who's white, and he so the white man is with her now.
He ain't scared.
Maybe a little bit, but the excitement overcomes the fear.
Evidently.
Probably.
Thank you, CI.
Yeah, terrible. The Key on Streamlab says biblical question response.
Do you see what you do to yourself, or do you only see what others do to you?
I see spirits working in concert inside of me and outside of me, inside of others, trying to gain legal access to act out their will through agreement. To obey is better than sacrifice, says the Key.
And that's a response to the biblical question?
Yeah. So he sees the spirits inside of him.
So he sees
and
what he
outside of
does to himself?
It sounds... I can only assume that, yes, he does.
Assume.
No,
Never assume.
I can only infer.
Never infer. Assume.
No, it's just logic. If he sees the spirits working in concert, probably he sees what he does to himself.
But he didn't say, yes, I see what I do to myself.
That's because he's too intelligent.
To answer the question.
Whatever.
Thank you. I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday. I don't quite know yet if you see it, what you do to yourself or not.
Wouldn't he see it if he sees the spirits working inside of him?
I'm not saying that's not it. I'm just saying I don't quite understand.
All right.
Hassan, you're saying that James is Somalian?
No, I'm assuming that Ilhan Omar is.
That's why she wear the head rag?
Not so much that, just her physical.
Yeah, because she's not Arab. She's Somalian, which is African.
And that's where the Allah country was?
It's one of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why she had the head rag on?
Yeah, because she's making a statement that she's Muslim.
Well, why don't she stay at home in Somalia and wear the head rag if she want to make that statement?
We brought her over from Kenya when she was 13 years old.
We'll take her back.
Or 12.
Take her to her head rag back.
That'd be nice.
This, there's a white man in Congress, I think. He wear a head rag.
Oh, yeah, because he has cancer. That's Jamie Raskin. He's Jewish, but he got cancer, so I guess I'm pretty sure he got cancer, and that's why so his hair was falling out.
He has cancer?
Because he said that. I mean, it was reported. I had to look it up.
Head rag?
Well, his hair fell out from the treatment, some type of treatment that made his hair fall out, so he covered his head.
But why? Why not just wear a bald head?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like it.
He'd rather wear a head rag.
It looks ridiculous. I agree. But he's not a Christian.
What is he?
Either Jewish or atheist or something.
He's a Jew?
Yeah. Anyway.
I like the Jews.
Me too.
Back in a moment. Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature. Okay, 888-775-3773. We're going to skip all the commercials right now and finish up the super chats.
The Nate Higgers donated a diamond saying, Bible Thumper Thursday is amazing.
Amazing. Thank you.
Chicken leg emoji, watermelon emoji, fire, fire, fire emojis. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
With exclamation marks. Mav Angel gave a diamond yesterday. Thank you, Jesse. Those were yesterday's Bible Thumper Thursday.
Bible Thumper Thursday was amazing. Check it out every Thursday. Thank you.
Ravender donated on JSeeLeePeterson.live. No one is above the law. No one is above the law, they say. Except the law maker, I say. You are the maker and breaker of your own laws. Amazing.
Amazing. It is mind-blowing. Thank you.
Greenwall with a diamond earlier this morning. With God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26.
Thank you.
Dan O bought a coffee. Jesse, check out so-and-so's new song, such and such. God bless.
And God bless you. Thank you.
I'll send that to you guys.
All right.
Star Zion, or Zion, bought a coffee.
Is her name Zion or Zion?
She spells it all kinds of different ways.
Is she Jewish?
Could be. She's
That's why it's Zion?
She's like Ilhan Omar's people. She's Ethiopian.
Oh.
Except Christian. Ethiopians are Christian, Somalians are Muslim. Something like that.
But Zion is a Christian.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Ethiopian.
Nice.
I guess.
Okay.
Jesse, you're extra blacker, black heart emoji. Now, the thoughts are making me afraid they might lock emoji, our President Trump up. People are distracted by social media and phones, phone emoji. While the enemy is taking control, technology has its good side, but it's destroying the generation.
Amazing. Have a wait and see. No one knows how this is going to turn out. So just have a wait and see. Don't believe any thoughts about it at all. Have a wait and see. Thank you, Sia.
Joseph went into prison and he became the prison master.
That's what I said about Trump.
Yeah.
Trump, if they put him in prison, he's going to be the president of the prison.
Sean made that into a short.
All over the country.
He'll be boss of all the prison gangs.
That's right.
Ravender donated on JSeeLeePeterson.live. Jesse the James Hake. Have you ever seen the woman's father through the woman?
What?
He likes to confuse me, I think. He
Oh.
says, Jesse the James Hake, we'll ignore that part. I think that's just a fun thing.
Okay.
Funny thing. Have you ever seen the woman's father through the woman?
I don't understand the question.
Well, you know how you can see the woman's mother's spirit come
Right,
through the woman?
right.
Have you ever seen the father's spirit come through the
in the
woman?
good old days I have, but not in the last 50 to 60 years I haven't.
All right.
Except for the few women who are waking up. Really. I know some women, especially those who attend the bar meetings, they are waking up, and yes, I can see it. Good question.
Justin Childers on Streamlabs. Time to get it off my chest. With all the looting and crime that's allowed, we need to legalize booby traps. They were outlawed in 1825, but America has changed a lot since then. We must allow property owners to booby trap their property to stop criminals, he says.
Thank you. Did you see that? I saw this on one, I believe it was Fox News, where there was a black guy went into a 7-Eleven, I believe, and he had this big trash can and he was just taking stuff.
Shameless.
And-
I had not seen that.
And he was like, something like, "You're not going to stop me," blah, blah, blah. And then two of the Arab men, the little Arab, one of the guys got a bat or something and beat this black guy like a slave.
Wow.
And while the other guy held him down, and the black guy was screaming like he was getting a whooping by grandma. It was so funny. I was like, right on.
Whoa. Well, I disavow just for the sake of the channels.
No, they were protecting their store.
Right. That's nice.
Self-defense. And then the cops weren't coming.
Right.
And the black guy didn't care. Got to protect yourself.
Indeed. Very true.
What the? But anyway, thank you.
The Nate Higgers donated a diamond on D Live several minutes back during our strange interlude. No audio, Hake. Quiet as a mug.
Thank you. It's working now, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Coffee Talk with Sandra donated a diamond right after that. Excellent recovery. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Riley JM on Streamlabs. Evil is evil.
Yeah.
I had dude I used to hang out with who would tell me I'm more pure than him. He would also get on me for not cussing enough. Maybe he didn't like that I didn't cuss as much as him. I was wanting to overcome foul language at the time.
That's right. You work on you. Let somebody else do what else they want to do. Let them suffer. It's on them. Thank you.
Becca0408 on Rumble.
You got to know how to rumble.
Can you sing me a happy birthday song, Jesse? A smiling emoji, hearts emojis.
Go to Cameo, Cameo, for personalized shout out. We used to do it here, but we spent the whole 3 hours doing that at one part, nearly. But go to Cameo, Cameo.com, and I'll be more than happy to
/ Jesse Lee Peterson.
Right. Cameo.com/Jesse Lee Peterson for all personalized shout outs, whatever it may be, encouragements or whatever. Okay, thank you.
And thank you guys. That's all for now.
Amazing. Thank you. And thank you, H.
Yep.
And Hassan, even though he didn't say anything. Thank you for just sitting there. You black. Let me go to Alex, a first time call out in Kansas City. Alex, thanks for calling. Thanks for holding you on the air.
Can you hear me okay?
Go ahead.
Hey, Jesse, how's it going?
All is well. How you?
All is well. Hey, Jesse, yeah, I just wanted to call in. I've recently kind of came across your content within the past probably 4 or 5 months, and I'm just amazed at how much your advice actually does work. Like, I went through the whole, videos of you talking with people, telling them to forgive their mother and everything, and then I started watching some of your sermons on it, and for a while it was hard for me to figure out whether or not like I resented my mother because I felt like I didn't. And then as I kind of watched more and more videos, I found out, I was like, oh, this is the reasons why I do resent her, regardless of actually like showing her that resentment or anything like that. But I have always lived in anger, and it got to the point where it was like wrath at that point, where I would want, to hurt people or sometimes myself out of that anger.
Yeah.
And so I just started, taking your advice, started doing the silent prayer 2 to 3 times a day. And then finally I, kind of figured out and dialed in what I would need to forgive my mother for. And it's all true, turning me away from my father. She didn't ever badmouth my father to me, but her constantly, almost coming to me as somebody to confide in about stuff in their relationship. Psychologically probably turned me away from my father more than I ever realized.
100%, man.
My father was not distant when we were growing up, but he was always working, always doing stuff out in, on the house, yard work and stuff like that. He was just always, doing stuff, and he taught me, tons of stuff about work ethic and being a man in that sense. But where I realized that he failed is protecting me from her. And it's just something that, was brought to light. And, this week I actually, talked to my mom, forgave her. The conversation went really well. She apologized. She understood. And then we kind of had a talk about, some of her doubts and worries and being unable to actually submit to my father fully. And I kind of, sent her one of your sermons and said, I wouldn't be surprised if you harbored resentment towards your mother that made you act just like her.
100%.
And she's been going through it, and I think, God's working in her. And I sent, sermons to my father also, because I felt like, he was missing out on some information because, he got turned away from his father. And, I really just wanted to call and say thank you. I really appreciate what you're doing. And,
you're welcome, man. And when you went to your father and asked, and because it sounded like he was doing the fatherly duties, working on the house, going to work, providing for the family, and might not have realized that his wife was doing this behind his back, turning his children away from him. I know so many men that didn't even realize that was happening. They were taking care of the family. The wife didn't even have to work in many cases. What did your father say when you went to him and ask, why didn't he protect you from her?
So I haven't got to that part yet. I'm kind of easing into that side of things because me and him have had a great relationship. I've always been open with him, but it's kind of the point where it's I'm figuring out that I need to kind of be an example to him. He's still kind of in some things that I can tell is out of anger, and I'm just trying to kind of lead by example to a sense. But I do want to talk to him next week. I just want to do it face to face.
Yeah,
it's been busy, but
the child become the parent, and the parent become the child.
Right, and I'm okay with that because I feel like if I'm going to end that generational trauma of this, curse, it's I'll definitely do it. I have no pride or,
right
I'm not shaming my parents for not doing a good job. They could only do what they could do. But
that's right.
I do want to see them enjoy, the last half of their life and
they're about
real
to die.
joy. Well, they're about to retire, and it's I don't want them going to die arguing. Yeah, but they won't die. They won't die if they, if their heart belongs to Jesus.
What? How old are you?
I just turned 30, so it took
Right
me 30
on,
years
man.
to figure it out. But
It took
I
me
feel like I'm ahead of
38
the
years
game.
to figure it out, so you're on time.
That's good to hear. I guess I have one other question.
All right.
And I know where this all stems from now because I was my mother.
Yeah.
But I still have, I guess you would say, love for a girlfriend that I once had. We were together for almost 5 years. Stuff didn't, work out. She left. Then she came back into my life, brought more hell. And then, which I was on this, road of fixing my life. And I think she saw that, was attracted to that, wanted that. But then when I would, I guess, give her the advice her father should have gave her, it didn't sit well. And I don't know if she thought I was lying or, the truth is hard to hear. But I know you say every thought is a lie, but I keep having these, thoughts that I should reach out to her in a way, not to be with her because I don't want to be with her, but I still want her to know the Father.
Why?
That it's like because I care about her, and I feel like it would, I feel like she deserves it, but obviously she doesn't if she's, her daddy's the devil, but, I want her to see, that it's all real, and I just feel like she's never had any guidance towards God, and I'm like, well, it's not my role, I know, but I just hate to see people living in their hell. But like you say, if you don't give it up, it means you just keep suffering and die.
And why do you hate to see people living in their hell when they love their hell? Why are you hating it?
I guess I just can see that there's a better way.
But still,
and
God knows there's a better way, right?
Right.
Is he worried about this woman living in her hell or not?
Worried, no.
Does he care that she's living in her hell?
Sorry, say it again.
Does God care that she's living in her hell?
I would think so, yeah.
Why would you think so? He ain't trying to stop her?
Right.
So why do you think he cares?
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, that was a good question.
Do you think he cares?
No, I'm asking you, why do you think he cares? When he and his son sit up there every day, they turn on the big screen TV, the son run over to Cafe Mocha, get some Cafe Mocha. They sit there and watch people make a fool of themselves in their hell. Why do you care when they're not doing anything about it? It's been done. It's up to her, and she's not ready for it.
Right. And I guess it would be the same situation as why I didn't do what I've done now to get close to the Father. Why I didn't do that earlier. Because I guess I didn't care. So it's
you loved your hell. This woman loved her hell. I would recommend if you care about her, you will leave her alone and stay out of her hell, or she will destroy you.
No, I definitely have done that. I haven't talked to her in months.
I wouldn't even try to get her saved or anything. You're playing with the devil.
Right. And that's what I always come back to, because you say your thoughts aren't your thoughts, and I'm like,
all thought. That's the devil
like,
inside of your imagination telling you to go and mess with the other devil. He's setting you up.
Right. Yeah, I believe that.
So I would do what you want, of course, but I would leave that alone. I'd be done with her. Wish her well. Don't resent her. She in her hell. She can't help it. And just become a living example. Live your life and let her suffer until she's ready to cry out to the Father.
Right. Do you believe women can find the Father without the leadership of a man?
100%.
You do? Even if they don't have a father figure or anything?
100%. All they need to do is just what the man needs to do, is to pay attention to themselves. Know thyself, and they'll see. God will allow them to see inside of themselves they have anger, Anger is evil, and they are going to suffer as long as they have the anger. Go and forgive, and he will forgive them and return them back to the Father. But if she has a husband, she got to go through her husband. But if she doesn't, then she can go straight to the Father. And the way she go through her husband is just by not resenting him. Realize he can't help himself and don't resent him, and she'll be fine. But a woman don't need a man to do that. She doesn't need a man to do that.
Awesome. Amazing.
And she just need to repent of the heart. The heart, salvation is of the heart. And anyone who has anger, their hearts are wicked. And you need to be born again of the heart. And everything else is easy. It'll start to work for her. But I would recommend you, don't impose yourself on her. Let her go. Be glad she's gone so that she cannot destroy you. The evil in her will hate the good in you now, in your heart, and it will work overtime, deceive you in order to destroy you.
Right. I believe it.
So stay away. Do what you want, but stay away, I recommend.
No, I'm gonna keep being away from that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any access to her. Like, I don't work in that city anymore, and I never talk to her. Don't have her on any social media. So
well, you're blessed.
It's not even been like a temptation to, I guess like check in. I just kept having this whole thing of like, you need to, not you need to, but maybe you could, and then it's like, well, that sounds like it's a lie.
It is a lie. It's straight out of hell. It's straight out of hell. Only those who cry out to the Father, seek first the kingdom of God, will be saved from the hell that they're living in. You can't save her. You can't even save yourself. It's the light of God that is saving you from the hell that you were living in.
Amen.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
I am.
Well, stay with it.
2 to 3 times a day.
Yeah, watch those thoughts. Keep your mind where your body is during the day, and stay out of the past or the future, which doesn't exist, and stay with it, because eventually the ego is going to start to die. And when that starts to happen, and it will, let that happen too. And just know it's not you, so don't identify with it. That way it'll just die. But if you identify with it as it's you, it's gonna be rough.
Right.
But I think ego is all ideas that you've taken on during a lifetime. Let all that stuff go. Let it die.
Yeah, and I believe that that's happening pretty quickly in my life since I've been doing the silent prayer, because like you said, when you be still and know God and those thoughts come up to try to distract you, then you can kind of figure out why they would come up, and that it is, you know, just a thought that doesn't matter. It's not real. The past isn't real. The future isn't real. So yeah, I'm completely ready to take on, the ego death. What's funny is you had that interview with John Zerka, and I love John Zerka just because he's like pretty hilarious. But it was great to see, because I've always thought, if he had some humility, I feel like his messages would be received a lot better. And then when you kind of checked him on the ego death, it was good to watch, because I could definitely tell, like, that the wheels started turning for him. And I was like, man, that's what he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want you to over the weekend, if you can, or whenever you can, watch the movie. What's that movie, Sean? What's that?
I think The Pope's Exorcist?
Yeah, Pope Exorcist. Watch that, and it's going to blow your mind, man. Everything that's happening in that is happening in every human being. You can't run from evil within yourself, hold on, Sean, or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality.
Ukraine's war against Russia is continuing, and Wells Fargo had a glitch messing up direct deposits. Bud Light's parent company, AB InBev, whatever that is, lost $395 million after supporting the transgender agenda. And I don't know if that's a lot. And fake integrity and ethics concerns over the so-called Supreme Court against the best justices, most integrity-having justices that we have. This is the end of Hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It is Express Yourself Friday, August 4th, 2023 AD. Lines are full. JLP will be right back to bring you guys on air. But first, Hake news, not fake news. After the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, the Hake Report. And after the Hake Report at noon Pacific time today, not the American anchor, baby. He's live at 4 Pacific. At noon is the Fallen State with the Truth Conductor guy, black old timer wearing a face mask, but he's pretty funny. And it should be a pretty good conversation. Hope you join us for the premiere and enjoy it. Ukraine propaganda, your daily dose. Ukraine forces said they attacked a ship at a Russian naval base today, which had about 100 servicemen on board. A sea drone struck the ship with nearly 1,000 pounds of TNT, dynamite, causing serious damage to the point it was not able to fulfill its duties, so said a Ukrainian source. Social media images showed the ship being towed near the Novorossiysk naval base, despite claims the Russian Defense Ministry saying that the attack had been repelled. The strike today comes as tensions continue to rise in the Black Sea after Russia withdrew from that grain deal, crucial to global food supplies, and resumed their blockade of Ukraine's ports, as well as launching a prolonged bombardment of their infrastructure, communist buzzword, and grain storage facilities. And that Wells Fargo glitch. Maybe a good time to check your Wells Fargo accounts, CNN says. The bank is working to resolve a technical glitch, maybe they've resolved it by now, that caused direct deposits to disappear from some customers' bank accounts. On Thursday night, a torrent of customers contacted Wells Fargo via Twitter, now officially branded as X, claiming that they could not access money they deposited into the bank. CNN reached out to Wells Fargo, meaning they contacted them, to determine how widespread the problem is, but the company has not said how many accounts were affected or are affected, and when the issue will be resolved, if it hasn't already. Instead, a company spokesman shared the statement, Wells Fargo is aware of some customers' deposit transactions not showing on their accounts. The issue will be resolved ASAP, as soon as possible. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. Bud Light's parent company, AB InBev, something or other, lost $395 million in revenue in the United States sales in the second quarter after being swept up in a marketing controversy. The brewer received backlash from quote-unquote right-wing media and anti-trans critics, somewhat normal people, right? After they sponsored so-called transgender influencer, that one guy, Dylan, whatever, in April. At the same time, the beer giant was slammed by LGBTQ advocates, radical homosexual activists, who said they failed to support Dylan, whatever, that guy, and a broader so-called trans community, no such thing, during the public relations crisis. Bud Light lost its ranking as America's best-selling beer to Mexican brewer Modelo in May. Modelo's American stuff is not owned by Anheuser-Busch InBev, but it is outside the country, interestingly, due to antitrust, anti-monopoly lawsuits or whatever, apparently. Fake integrity and ethics concerns over the so-called Supreme Court. Here's a quote shared by one gal. We, too, are part of a checks and balances system. So said Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan. not a Christian, by the way, Obama female justice, affirming Thursday the High Court, high on pot, is working behind closed doors to consider whether to implement a code of conduct that would be directed specifically at 9 justices. The 9 justices. This comes as ethics questions have been raised over some justices' luxury travels and extracurricular activities. They're talking about Clarence Thomas, who's the best one on the court. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 3.
Got to stand up strong, ain't the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way, I know we can find a way, I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up.
I'd like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. America is and must always be a nation of law and order.
We've just been told that Donald Trump has entered the courtroom. Also in the courtroom is the special counsel, Jack Smith. Jack Smith is someone who has run over and competed in over 100 triathlons.
His aggressive approach to his personal health and exercise correlates to how he approaches his prosecution and his strategy.
This is a man of a lot of grit and a lot of determination.
This is a very sad day for America. This is the persecution of the person that's leading by very, very substantial numbers in the Republican primary and leading Biden by a lot. So if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute him.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Folks, look, I absolutely agree. Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
So that was a very tainted election, and in that sense, it's illegitimate.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he knows he didn't. He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The outcome of the election was affected by their interference, and now we need to know, to what degree, if any, the Trump campaign was actually in collusion with Russia.
He knows he's an illegitimate president. So of course he's obsessed with me.
We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. Our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Amazing! What's good for the goose is good for the gander. How come they can say that about him, but he can't say that about them? What the? I want my country back. Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show already. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE, JESSE. We have every way, all kinds of ways that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show, jesseleepeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about and you want to listen to the show because you're too busy to sit and watch it, you can podcast it later, of course. You can call the listen line on TalkStream Live at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us, JLP Talk on Twitter and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. JLP Talk on Twitter and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Like, follow, ring the bell, subscribe. All those good things. Thank you. It's Friday. It's Get It Off Your Chest Day. It is. That's amazing video, Sean, or Nick, whoever put that together, that opening there. That was, if y'all don't understand that, then I don't know what it's going to take. Remember how they complained about the Great White Hope? He was an illegitimate president and all that. What's the difference? They didn't go to jail for doing that. They were not charged for doing that. Why now? Anyway, Get It Off Your Chest Friday. Whatever's on your mind, express yourself Friday.
You, Tom, like a mug. You need to go and get yourself bleached, because everything you say about black people, and you're sitting up there looking like a tar baby.
It might sound like a semantics argument, but he's a great alien.
I wonder if he's been smoking pot.
So I want you to talk a little bit about Tanya Chutkin, the judge here in this case.
I'm thinking about two kinds of justice, poetic and legal.
The poor, the farmer.
She has handed down some heavier sentences for January 6th defendants. She's also ruled against Trump previously. What more do we know about her?
The poor, the farmer.
The poetic justice is that presiding over Trump's trial will be a black woman immigrant.
Culturally, we are now one step away from South Africa.
That's amazing. A stadium full of black people chanting, "Kill the whites." Imagine what would happen had that happened had it was reversed. What would be going on? And in our country, the same thing. Woe unto the blacks who call good evil and evil good. So what I want to do is I want to catch up with some of these calls. The time going by, and I have so much I want to share with you here, and it just, we need another hour. Let me go to Robert, a first-time caller out of Long Island, New York. Robert, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse, how's it going?
All is well.
Very excited to speak with you. I found your content on TikTok, the clips, and have been listening to you hard for a month, and love you and your team. It was good. Agree with everything you guys are doing and love the message. Yesterday, a caller that spoke with you had me like, what the? Because he asked you directly, is Jesus God? And you said no. So I'm totally not in a defensive posture, but you have to understand I'm Puerto Rican and slow. So you got to break down that world view for me to make sure that I don't have a misunderstanding. Because besides being like, what the, I asked myself, is it true? And then the whole Googling, God, Jesus saying I am, and I am God and all that. You got to break it down for me, Jesse. I'm Puerto Rican and slow.
Okay. So you believe that Jesus is God?
I know Jesus is God.
Oh, okay. And where in the Bible does Jesus say, I am God?
Jesus says, I am before Abraham. And if you look at the languaging, that's why Jesus got jacked up. Because when the Pharisees and all those people were like, who are you? He's like, I am. That's literally saying, I am God.
Where in the Bible does he say, where in the Bible, just for information, I'm black and slow as well, as you know. Where in the Bible does Jesus say, I am God?
He doesn't have to. Saying I am refers to I am God, just how what Abraham was like, oh, who sent you? He was like, oh, the I am, which is God.
And is there anywhere in the Bible where he said, my Father sent me?
Yes.
And so when he said, my Father sent me, was he talking about himself?
This is why I'm talking to you. So this is why it's a conundrum, because if you look at most Christian worldviews, Holy Spirit, Trinity, Holy Spirit, God, Jesus, water could take the form of, vapor, solid, frozen, blah, blah, blah.
So
that's what's confusing.
So when he said my Father sent me, was he talking about himself?
He was talking about God.
And so if he was God, would he say my Father sent me, or would he say I came on my own?
My worldview and understanding is, how can we know God? How can we know God when we don't have God's nature? So God humbled himself to make it watered down for us so that we could see, we could experience and see God through a human being.
If he was God, would he say I came on my own, or would he say my Father sent me?
He said he sent his son. He sent the messenger.
And so if he say he is the Son, but he has never said he is God, why are you believing that he is God? Why are you reading something in there that's not there?
Because, like I was saying, the I am context, when people said I am, it's saying God.
But why are you reading that in there when he doesn't say that? That's what people are saying. That's not what he said, but he did say, my Father sent me. My Father and I are one. Don't worship me. It's not me that's doing the work, but the Father in me. He said all those things. If he wanted us to think he was God, why would he just outright say, I'm God?
So, I understand what you're saying.
No, that was a question. That was a question.
That's a question? Okay. Because I think most of the Bible you have, like most of the Bible, I think you have to interpret it and understand the languaging that they're being used and what they're saying.
But you're not understanding the language. He's making clear that the Father sent me, the Father working through me is not me. But you read something because somebody else said, I am, and you fill in the blank because they fill in the blank. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, that makes sense. But
that makes sense to read in the blank, fill in the blank. But where everywhere else he say, my Father and I are one. He makes it clear he has a Father. I'm going away to seek my Father's will. When he would go off to pray, he say all that outright clear. But you're filling in a blank because somebody else filled in a blank. Why would you do that?
Because that's the only narrative that makes sense to me.
And how does it make sense to fill in the blank, but not make sense to understand what he said clearly?
So let me add on to my confusion.
Okay, I will, but answer that first. It makes sense to fill in a blank, but it doesn't make sense to accept what he said completely, fully.
You're right.
No, that was a question.
Can you say that differently, please?
It makes sense to you to fill in an empty space where he didn't say that at all. Somebody else said it. But where he did say, my Father did this, my Father sent me, it's my Father's will, it doesn't make sense for you to accept that. But it makes sense for you to accept something that he did not.
I think
it makes sense for you
to
accept something that he did not say.
I think both things are true.
Why?
Why? Because my understanding is they have God operates in different functions.
What?
Like Holy Spirit is like God operates in different functions. Like the Holy Spirit is the comforter.
I know you're veering off to some more intellectual stuff that someone has taught you. You need to really smoke on this. Why is it that he says out clearly, my Father sent me? He didn't say I sent me. He didn't say I came on my own. He said that my Father sent me. He said I'm going off to pray to seek my Father's will. He said, don't worship me. It's not me doing the work. Greater work shall you do because my Father sent me. He made that loud and clear. But this other stuff that you quoted is not even said, it's not even written, but you're filling in the blank, and that makes sense to you.
So the next part,
Do you understand that? Do you see that point, though,
Yes,
before you move
yes.
to the... Because right now,
Yes,
your
yes,
mind...
yes.
Right now, the devil is racing with your mind to the next point because he doesn't want you to be still and see this point.
No, I hear what you're saying. I understand it, but here's the.
What do
the
you
shift
understand about that?
What I understand of that is I need to pray and.
No, what do you
understand
understand about what I just said and you agreed to?
You're saying at face value, the literal words. God doesn't it doesn't say, or God says I am, or God says that where Jesus says he's God. That everything's through the Father. That he's pointing to the Father. My challenge with that is if Jesus isn't God, then what's the whole point of Christianity? What's the whole point of that? And how is Jesus no different than Muhammad or everybody else, every other messenger?
I don't understand that question.
So if Jesus is not God, then okay, what makes Jesus any different than Muhammad?
I don't understand that question.
So my understanding is you're saying Jesus is not God, right? So if Jesus is not God, and so my understanding is Jesus, the Father sent the Son to die for our sins.
Who sent the Son?
The Father.
But yet you call the Son the Father.
I don't know if I said that. I said
you said the Father sent the Son, but yet you're calling the Son the Father.
Right.
And that makes sense to you? Was he the Son of God, or was he the Son of God that sent? This is so crazy. Was he the Son of God, or was he the Son of himself?
There's the Father and the Son.
Who sent the Son?
The Father.
And who sent the Son?
The Father.
Could the Father's... And so if he was the Son, why are you calling him God? If God sent the Son, why are you calling the Son God?
Because my understanding is everything lines up that he was sent, and he.
Who sent
God.
him?
That's why. The Father.
And so, if you send if you send your son over to beat up Harpo, is that you going to beat up Harpo, or that your son that went to beat up Harpo?
Did Harpo defeat the grave and came back? So
I'm asking you, who sent the son? You sent your son over to beat Harpo, right?
Right.
So is your son you, or is he your son?
Son.
And so why don't you see that as simpler as you see this? Why don't you see this as you see that?
Because that's putting a human understanding and limit where God has no limits.
But that's not putting a human understanding on something that was not said.
So did Jesus die and come back?
Was that putting a human understanding on something that was not even said?
That's a fair point too.
No, that's a fair question. That was a question.
Yes.
So why are you doing that?
Because listening to narratives, and those narratives make sense.
And you're going to hold on to the narratives.
That's why I'm on the phone with you, Jesse. I respect you enough to be humble and hear your worldview and know that I don't know everything.
Right, and I'm not, and I don't want to convince you either. I want you to see I want you to see it for yourself, because if I convince you, all you would have done is believe it because I said it, right? I want you to see it for yourself, and that way, once it is revealed to you, no one can make you doubt it.
I've dabbled and studied like occult stuff, Scientology, Islam, all these stuff.
And you know what? You know why?
Because I'm a knowledge seeker. And
you're seeking the truth. You want to know the truth. And because you want to know it, you will know the truth.
Right.
And it's enough to know that you don't know for sure, and you're right about doing that. And then leave it a blank space, and it will be revealed to you.
My challenge is nothing else has been true than Christianity. The challenge that I have is with all those other things, and especially with your comment, is where the Bible talks about, hey, you don't know the Father unless you know Jesus. Like, you don't, like, how is that different than, like, explain that to me. Like, where it clearly says, hey, you don't know the Father, you don't know God, if you don't know me, Jesus. Everyone comes through me, Jesus.
I never read you don't know God unless you don't know Jesus. Where'd you find that?
That's in the Bible. I'm definitely paraphrasing. You don't know the Father.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. It says that when you believe him, then you can believe into God. It's like when I remind people that they need to forgive their mothers, and all of a sudden it makes sense. And when it makes sense, they go and forgive and they're free because they believe the message. They believed it. And so when you believe the message that Jesus brought, it's not Jesus the person you believe, but it's the message that he brought that was sent by the Father to us. Once we believe the message, we're able to see it, we're free. We believe back into the Father.
I believe that. So did Jesus die and come back?
He did, but not in the way you think that he died and came back. As a matter of fact,
share that with me.
The false self died of Jesus. The ego died from Jesus. All the ideas that human beings have, all the identities and the hatred and the false identities, the vices and things like that, all those things died, and the real Jesus came forward. And that's what's going to happen with human beings who allow the false self to die, and the real self will appear, and you will live. Because as long as you identify with the false identities and don't die from that ego death, you're still dead. You're not living. You're alive, your eyes are open, but you're not living.
Okay, so you're talking about more of a, not a literal resurrection. You're talking about old self, new self.
I'm sorry?
So you're not talking about a literal resurrection. You're talking about his old self.
When you die from the ego, you will be resurrected.
Okay.
That's that's what he meant when he said you have once to die and once to live. Once you die from that, there is no more death.
And the whole overcoming the grave and that type of languaging is not a literal resurrection. He died, came back.
I understand that.
So the narrative of my understanding, which is Jesus was crucified. He died, flatlined, right? Died, the end. And then he came back, right? He was resurrected and he's alive. So is that what you're saying is like, hey, if the ego dies, his ego died and he was reborn. That's not a literal, that's not a witness accounts of people, disciples, and people seeing Jesus' physical body.
Did you know that when Jesus physically walked the earth, even his mother didn't know he was Jesus?
Didn't know he was Jesus, or didn't know that he was divine or inspired?
They didn't know he was Jesus.
Buzzword.
They knew his name was Jesus because everybody, their mama's name was Jesus, Hushura or whatever they call it, right? That was just short. That means Jesus, right? Everybody and their mama in the tower had the same name, but they didn't know that he was Jesus. They didn't know that until after he rose and he said, "This is me." Did you know that?
Well, when he started his ministry,
did you know that? You didn't answer that question.
No.
Did you know that even the followers and the mother didn't even know he was Jesus until after he rose?
So you're saying they had doubts?
No, they didn't know.
What does that mean? They didn't know. They didn't know what?
They didn't know he was Jesus. They just
Why
thought
not?
they knew he was wise, that he made a lot of sense. He knew that you're supposed to love one another, you're supposed to pray for one another and not hurt one another. They knew you were supposed to forgive mama and daddy, and that's what it means to honor your parents. And he was a wise man, but they didn't know that he was Jesus, the real deal, until after he died and was quote unquote resurrected. They didn't know that until after that. Even Mary didn't know. And Mary had him.
So after he was resurrected, meaning the body came back.
The spirit came back, yes.
Okay. So with what you're sharing,
did you know that? Did you know that?
I knew they had doubts.
No, they didn't know. It's not that they doubted. They didn't know. They couldn't see.
Okay.
Did you know that?
What about the walking on water?
No, I asked you a question. I asked first, did you know that?
No, I did not know that. I know some of them had doubts. I didn't know all of them had doubts.
They didn't doubt. They didn't know.
Okay, I see what you're saying. They didn't know for sure if they didn't.
They didn't know at all. They didn't recognize him. Even Mary, his mama, didn't even know.
Okay. Why is that important? Why if they had doubts and then they had belief when he was resurrected, then they knew.
You keep saying they had doubt. I'm telling you, they didn't know. They could not see. They just thought of him as a wise person.
Okay, a wise person.
And yet you guys are making him God. What the?
What about the miracles he did? Blind guy saw, walking on water, turned water into wine. It's pretty cool. He's not a magician.
And what about walking on water and wine? What about the walking on the water?
Who does that? Magicians don't do that.
Anyone that has a change of heart from anger to love, and anyone that dies of the ego can walk on water.
And heal the blind.
Did you understand what I said about walking on the water? Because all you're doing is into your intellect, going from one thing to another one, and you're not communicating with me.
Okay, so thanks for correcting that. So walking on water when I hear you saying that anyone could walk on water,
yeah,
I'm not thinking, my mind isn't going to a physical walking on water. It's going to overcoming challenges and insurmountable things.
Amazing. Do me a favor, Robert, if you can, because of time, and I want to get to so many other callers. We do Bible Thumper Thursday. Are you able to call me on Bible Thumper Thursday?
I did. I came yesterday. But one last part.
You came yesterday?
Well, I was on the call yesterday. That's why I heard someone.
But why are you saying your first time calling in?
I didn't call in yesterday. I listened.
Oh, hold on, Robert. I got to take a break. Back in a moment. Sean, let Robert know I got to run, but call me another time. I got to run. I use my callers. I noticed after a while that when these guys overcome their anger, they have amazing ideas about starting a business, but because they've been told that if you don't get a loan from the bank, or if you don't have a 5-year plan, or if you don't do this, and it's just simply not true, it's the first step. With faith, then all things are possible. So, but the most important thing is to return to the Father. That yearning that you have, that emptiness, that void, is not for more stuff. It's not for more friends. It is a return to the Father, because there's no way you can return to God and be angry at your earthly father. So thank you all so much, right? People around the world donated to Bond at rebuildingtheman.com, or they call 800-411-2663, and we're still committed to pointing the right way for men and women to return to the Father. Amazing. Robert, call me back tomorrow or Monday. All right. I understand, and I know you have a lot of questions, but I'm just running out of time here. I appreciate your call, though. Quick announcement. The Hake report is coming up at the top of this hour. The Hake report.com from 9 to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, Pacific time. And today he has a guest on the Hake report. Hake report, Dylan Burns. And I had Dylan on the Fallen State. He's been on the Fallen State, but he's with Hake today. You don't want to miss that at the top of this hour, thehakereport.com. And then at 12 noon, a brand new episode of thefallenstate.tv. Thefallenstate.tv. An amazing conversation with Don Felden. Don Felden, better known as the Truth Conductor. He is a Black history historian who conducts Black history tours around Washington, D.C. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
Black history is the last frontier of tourism.
What's good about you?
My looks.
We can't see your looks.
Huh?
Are you a Christian?
Do I sound like a Christian?
Not really.
I got my Bible right here, man. I can pull it out. You can open up a can of worms I don't think you're ready for.
Doesn't July feel white?
No, sir. Man, we still enslaved, brother. My dick is bigger than the average white man.
Keep it clean. Kids watch this show.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I created my own dinnerware line, Jesse.
Well, we can't see him. You got a mask on. What the? At 12 noon. It's amazing. You don't want to miss it. You can support the Fallen State by becoming a member there on the YouTube channel, and thank you all for that. And then at 4 p.m., the American Anchor Baby. Amazing. He's flying high on natural energy. You don't want to miss that. Amazing show coming up for you today with the American Anchor Baby at 4 p.m. on Fridays. All right? 4 p.m. Pacific time. The American Anchor Baby. And then Sunday morning fellowship. I will be there this Sunday, the Lord is willing. And the creek don't rise. All right? And the creek don't rise. Amazing. So I'm reading something here. Sorry about that. Let me see this. That's it, I think. Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Doors open at 10:30. Oh, I forgot to mention the treasure chest is now open on D-Live. The treasure chest is now open. I wanted to show you guys what evil, and another example, not the only example, but another example of what evil looked like. And so let me show you this first. This is another example of evil. And evil is evil, it's just evil, right? And there's no such thing. One evil better than the next evil or less than. Evil is evil. And one of the mind-blowing evil thing that happens in the blacks' homes is brainwashing the children, brainwashing them one way or another. Watch this from Wikipedia. CBC kids. This is a different one that happened in the home, and I get to the black one in a minute. But I have said over and over again that mothers don't love their children. And the fathers don't, because they don't make the mothers do what they should to watch over their children. Right? They don't love their children. They're about ego. They're about themselves and not about the children. So when you hear, a mother's love is so great, mothers love their children, they're lying to you. Mothers do not love their children. They make no sacrifice. Now, there are mothers who are waking up from the fallen state. They are now making the sacrifice to educate their husband's children, to be there for the children. But prior to waking up, mothers do not love their children. This is from Wikipedia. CBC Kids in a Canadian children book. No, I'm sorry. A Canadian children block on CBC television. The block was launched in 1987 and contained programming targeted at children. Watch this from CBC Kids. Turning the children from good to evil in childhood. That's evil. That's just, first of all, it's a plain old lie. It's a made-up lie. And they're brainwashing the children. They're turning them to evil in childhood. And the parents don't care. As long as they're on TV and the parents carry on. Now do you see why they need their mothers to be home instead of out trying to be equal to a man, which never will happen, ain't going to happen, not going to, ain't, never will, that happen. And they're sacrificing the children to evil. And the parents who are watching, letting their children watch this at home are evil. Turning their children away from God toward evil. Parents don't love their children. The folks on TV is not making them turn the TV on and show that crap, those lies to the children. Let me show you another quick evil. And parents who do not love their children, they hate their children. This is pure evil, turning them away from God, away from their innocence toward hell. Recreating the children their image, with lies, just plain old lies. The world don't have to do it. The mothers are doing it, and the weak fathers. This is from Wikipedia. The TikTok The talk is a conversation Black parents feel compelled to have with their children. They gotta have the talk. Did you have a talk yet? They gotta have a talk with their children about the dangers they face due to racism from law enforcement. Watch this from Cut.
We actually have a line that we do at our house. We practice this thing. What is it?
I'm Ariel Sky Williams. I'm 8 years old. I'm unarmed and I have nothing that will hurt you.
It's just kind of a thing we practice at our house.
For some reason, people of color have always been a target by the police.
Before they became a policeman, they were a person. And that person took all their ideas and all their thoughts and all their prejudice into their job.
Why would a police officer assume that you did something bad?
Maybe because of my skin color.
I remember being put in handcuffs for something that had nothing to do with me. I was literally walking in the mall. Cops slammed me on the ground, busted my lip, chipped my tooth. That actually made me really mad. I got tased that time. That time they tased me because they said I wasn't complying.
Ariel, are you okay?
What's wrong, baby?
You have to be careful when you're out there in this world because this world's not going to always be honest or fair to you. I know, Sean, you got a little bit lighter than the rest of them, so it's a possibility you won't get stopped.
If at all possible, turn your phone on.
And call someone and put it on speaker.
But whatever you're doing, I want you to say what you're doing before you do it.
You don't write any statements.
Well, you have to write a statement.
You don't have to write anything. You're a minor. I'm responsible for you. No one can tell you anything else.
If it tells you to be quiet, be quiet. Do everything that you can to get back to me.
That's evil. That's not coming from the white man. That's not coming from the police. That's coming from if those are their parents, they're coming directly from the parents. The parents are evil. And they are recreating the children in their image. And then when something happens, they're going to blame the white man. They're going to blame the white man. They're teaching their children a lie. They are evil. If those are those kids' parents, those males and female parents are evil. They're teaching their children a lie. And the kids are going to believe it. Destroying their childhood with lies. And then they're going to blame it on the white man. It's in the home, folks. Did you have a talk with your children? If you did, you hate your children. You are evil. And you are destroying your children, recreating them in your image. That is evil. Pure evil. They're not protecting their children. They're setting them up to be destroyed from within. And they're going to go out and act out as they get older and then from without. And it ain't the white man's fault. It ain't the police fault. It's their fault. They're doing it to their children. It ain't our children. It's their children. Their child or children. It ain't my child. It ain't your child. It ain't your children. It's their children. And they are responsible for what they're doing to their own children. They're lying to the kids. Teaching evil. Jason is out of Buffalo, New York. Jason, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, man? How you doing?
All is well, Jason.
All right. I want to talk about your version of God and how you be talking about people like how they.
You want to talk about what now?
How you be talking about people how you want, what you want to do earlier.
Jason, you say you want to talk about what? I didn't hear. You say I want to talk about.
Oh, you remember when I want to talk about how you wrong, like your versions are wrong, your doctrine, how you
I don't have a doctrine.
People be wrong according to the Bible.
I don't have a doctrine.
Yes, you do.
How are you going to tell me I have one when I tell you I don't?
No. When you tell somebody they maybe have to go get forgiveness,
how are you going to tell me? I told you I don't have a doctrine, and you said yes, you do. Why are you saying yes, I do when I say I don't?
All right, can I explain it to you now?
Yeah, once you answer that question.
Why to explain it to you? I'm gonna tell you what a doctrine is. When you tell
I don't have one.
I'm
telling you, I don't have one.
Okay. All right. So what do you call this? What do you call this? When you tell people they have to go to their father when they have to go forgive their mother, when they gotta go forgive their mother and go back to their father, what do you call it?
Love.
Oh, no, it's a doctrine.
I'm sorry?
No, it is a doctrine. It's
so you call I call it love, but you call love a doctrine?
Oh no, you call it doesn't matter what you call it. I'm just calling it what it is.
No, I'm telling you, I say it's love because I'm pointing them back to love by encouraging them to forgive. And I call it love, but you call it a doctrine, right?
Yes.
Okay, then. You call it doctrine, but I don't. Do you understand? Do you accept that?
Okay. You don't call it. You don't call it that. But let me explain to you how it is a doctrine.
Do you accept that I don't call it a doctrine?
I mean, all right. Do you accept that?
No. I ask you a question. Do you accept I don't call it a doctrine?
Not yet.
Well, and why not? You're calling it. I accept that you're calling it a doctrine. Why can't you accept that I don't? It's not a doctrine to me.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying though. But according to the definition,
no. I'm asking you, why don't you accept that? That's not what I'm calling it.
Because I think in logic and reason.
Oh,
hold on.
So your logic is telling you not to accept that Jesse said that he's not calling it a doctrine. Your logic is telling you not to accept that.
All right, can I ask you a question?
Answer that question first.
I can't answer that question.
Why not? You said you think in logic, and I said that it's not a doctrine, it's love. And you said I can't accept that. Your logic is telling you not to accept that.
You see, no, it's not that my logic. Like basically, I'm gonna say my logic is telling me not to accept it. And
that makes sense to you
for who they are.
And that makes sense to you.
Hold on. Let me. Can I explain my point?
No.
My logic is that's what I'm saying.
You made a statement that's not true, and I want to understand it. That makes sense to you not to accept what I said.
Based on the word doctrine.
I'm sorry?
Based on the established definition of doctrine, that's exactly what that is.
And what that have to do with me?
Well, because you don't understand what the word doctrine is, and you don't understand the concept of the word doctrine, it's like you don't understand anything outside of you. I told you that before.
And do you understand love? What I say is love? Because I'm telling people to go and forgive. It's a spiritual battle. Before you enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must forgive. You don't see the love in that.
That's the doctrine.
You don't see the love in that.
No. That is it doesn't matter about the love. You don't see the doctrine.
No, I'm asking you. I'm not using my intellect to understand. You don't see the love in that.
So hold on.
No, answer that question for me first. Do you see the love in that?
No, I don't see the love in that.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't see the love in that. Why can't I use logic and reasoning to live my life? I'm not a feeling type person.
You're not a what?
You say about emotions are not good. I'm not a feelings type person. You know how you talk all about emotions are bad and everything?
Right.
Love is an emotion. Love is not the
love that I'm speaking of. The love that I'm speaking of is not an emotion. You know what, Jason? But I appreciate your call, man. Time is running out. Call me again. I want to get to Chris. A first time call out of Florida. He's been waiting a long time. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jesse. How are you?
All is well, sir. How are you?
All is well.
Good.
I just wanted to call in and ask. I didn't know what I wanted to ask. I just called in to say, I had just forgiven my parents earlier in the year, probably around February, a couple months back. And so I just wanted to, I guess, express what, happened with that situation.
Okay.
And so, with my mother, it was interesting because you said to go in without any expectations, any like plans or ideas. And at first, I asked my buddy I wrote something down to like try to like plan out what I was going to say. And I did that. I told my buddy about it. And then I went and like said what I wrote down to my mother and my stepfather. And it kind of just felt like staged. And then like a few months afterwards, I went back and, because I watched your show a few more times, like consistently. And I just went back with no expectations. And I just went with what was in my heart. Yeah. And it totally set me free. Like I stopped identifying with what was in my head. Stopped like letting that lead me all the time. And I forgave my stepfather just recently because I realized from what you said and just the spirit of it that when my stepfather came into the picture, when my mom invited him in, and I was still like a teenager, like 14, I noticed that, I was still yearning for my father at the time.
Yep.
And so it kind of just, it struck me off guard because my mother had told me that she was having a kid with my stepfather right now, and that was like back when I was 14, and I just noticed, reflecting back, like I had such a resentment towards my mother and my stepfather for like putting me in that situation.
Yep.
And it's like when I went back to my stepfather and I forgave him for that, as well as my mother, I noticed that it was just like my entire view of them just totally vanished, like the false image. And now I just see them for what they are. And I don't know, it's interesting just to see the difference in what happens when you forgive. So,
that's right. Yeah. I once was blind, but now I see. That is amazing, man. I totally understand it. That's why I try to urge people, they need to wake up. And you're not going to wake up until you see you're wrong for having this anger and go and forgive your mother and your father. That's amazing, Chris.
Thank you, Jesse.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Right on, man. You're blessed to be waking up at such an early age.
Thank you, man. And I'm just curious. What's your biblical question for the week?
Do you see what you do to your? Do you see what you do to yourself, or do you see what others do to you?
I see what I do to myself. Now I'm just waking up, seeing that all the stuff that other people are doing, it's not towards me. It's really what they're doing to themselves. So whenever I see myself doing something, I'm just grateful for it, and I see that there's nothing anybody can do to me because it's not what's happening to me. It's just the spirit in them that's leading them. So
that's amazing. I want to respond to you on that, but I got to wait until Sunday. I'm so out of time. Will you call me again, Chris?
Yes.
Stay with it. Stay with it. There's nothing to go back to. Stay with it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right, buddy. Call me again.
All right. Wish you well.
All right, buddy. You too. I am so out of time. What the 3 hours gone? They don't exist anymore. Become your own man. Become your own woman. Do the silent prayer. Go and forgive and watch. The not you. All right? The Hake Report is coming up now. He has a guest. And at 4 p.m., the American Anchor, baby. I'm out of time. To the caller, Sean, and the folks who are hanging up, I'm out of time. Have a good weekend. See you at church on Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Doors open at 10:30. Bye.
Check. I had to get on the track one time. Joel Friday here. Check. Look, stand up. We got fighting to do. We gotta show 'em who boss. He put a Viking in you. He put that lightning in you. Igniting the truth. But you beg and blame and lie and hate and never wanna stand for the truth. So what you planning to do? You understand in the move. You better go talk to your mama. Better stop at the drama. Better drop all the trauma. Boy, you better stand up and up. Put your hand up and hut. Cause if we don't, then we lose. And then we gotta hear the fake news. Whoa.
Know that so you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause you must know that so you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can.
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering, or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. So I asked the question, are you better than a child molester? I've discovered over the 30 years of counseling, the one thing that's missing, and I think because it's not taught in the homes or talked about, we don't have examples of it, right, is love. Our theme this year is to bring back Christianity, to love God with all our heart, soul, and might, our neighbor as ourselves, and to endure. And there, when you're in a fallen state, people will judge the molester but think they're better than the molester. And I ask, well, why do you think you're better? When I realized it doesn't matter what you think about yourself or how much you have or don't have or how you accomplish things in life or don't. If you have no love, you have nothing.